My older brother, Jerry, he was a duck hunter. And he lived in the apartment above me. And old wind be blowing out of the north about 25 and just cold. And I'd hear him running down the stairs, going out to get into his pickup truck to go duck hunting. And I thought, man, he's got to be crazy to go out in that weather. So one day we were working and it started spitting the snow. He said, let's go duck hunting. I said, no, man, I don't duck hunting. He said, come on, I know where there's some ducks, we'll have a good time. And we went and hopped in the Jeep and headed down to the bottoms, spitting the snow, and backwater was coming in, ducks everywhere. And we just sat down and had us a little dove shoot on ducks, is what it came to, and I kind of got hooked on it then. And I guess for the next 20 years, 25 years of my life, when season was over, I thought, man, how am I gonna make it till next year?
By far, the most difficult aspect of waterfowl hunting is luring your game those last few yards into effective shotgun range.
My dad came out with the first motion decoy on the market with the finisher motion goose decoy.
And I always thought, well, you know, if you had a decoy that would move like a goose, that would be the trick that would get them all in. So I thought, you know, if I had a spring neck that I could pull and make the head go down, that would be the motion that would trick a goose.
For the discriminating hunter, our finisher field decoys offer the ultimate in realistic looks and motion. These decoys do it all but the calling.
Quite different than anything else that was on the market.
It was very, very effective in the field, and people liked it. It was just way ahead of its time.
You know, the very first time I remember getting excited about it was not people's reaction, seeing the birds' reaction to this product. You know, we'd go hunting, man, and you'd turn that thing on, these geese are out there at 70, 80 yards, and they would absolutely touch their wings together, just eating it up when that thing would come on. It was crazy. And we knew right then, it was like no one else was doing motorized decoys, but we knew it was going to be awesome.
That really set the foundation for kind of how we do things.
The natural, realistic looks and motions of our waterfowl decoys will help you bring birds closer and increase your enjoyment of our great sport.
John and Ben's my two oldest sons, and when I would go duck hunting and goose hunting, and they got old enough, Dad, we want to go. So I would take them whenever, you know, they were out of school for Christmas and stuff like that. And both of them liked it really well. And John was kind of more of a shooter. He didn't like to blow a call much or anything. And Ben, I couldn't get him to quit calling.
I, you know, got more interested in it, went to college for a couple years, and, you know, college wasn't my thing, to say the least. And decided to go out there with my dad. He offered me a position to first just paint decoys.
And we really felt like we were on our way to making a little bit of money.
Landed a couple of accounts, got Cabela's and a couple other accounts, and we all were like, oh man, this thing could go.
In fact, the first year I think that we produced ducks, we had painted about 25,000. And I think the boys and I were sitting in the office and having lunch and heard somebody yell fire. And Ben and I went out and opened a big door going into the production room, and here comes the fire just rolling across that floor. I mean, there wasn't any stopping it.
I couldn't breathe, and not from the smoke, I couldn't breathe from the shock. I mean, it was one of those situations where this isn't a grab a fire extinguisher and put it out type of deal. It's you get out the door. And then, you know, once I got outside, you just can't do anything but sit there and watch it burn. And, you know, just think about it.
Pretty depressing thought when you see your factory and worked 4 or 5 years, developing everything.
It was a real moment of truth for us as a family. We had to decide whether we wanted to quit or keep going.
And my mom used to get on to me because I'd joined the Boy Scouts and then I'd quit, and I was on the high school basketball team and I'd quit, and she always said, "Mark, you just quit everything." And so when the factory burned and John and Ben and I sat down and everything, I thought, okay, Mom, I'm gonna listen to you this time. I'm gonna keep this going. I don't know how it's gonna turn out, but it turned out great.
After the factory fire, my dad had a brain aneurysm, and very serious when
I got hurt in the end of '02 and I had to have brain surgery. I had a brain bleed.
It was really, really tough times. We were not of the mindset to grow the business like we are today. We were just trying to hang on, until my dad got better. And unfortunately, that did not happen for a while. He had another brain aneurysm in 2005.
And I asked John and Ben if they would take over the company because I knew I was going to be in long recovery.
John and I decided to double down and work there full time and put our heart and soul into it, and that's exactly what we did.
Your sons are people that you can count on. They get in there and get the job done. They came in and really turned things around for us.
But that wasn't the beginning of good times for us. That was really a tough couple years.
it did feel like things just weren't meant to go well.
We ran the business out of my brother's basement, and it was just us. It was my brother, myself, and one secretary.
I mean, it was just, we were just trying to make it, just get through the next week, you know, make it to the next month.
Things were really, really tough. We had a lot of struggles. My dad made a really tough decision at that time to sell our farm, one that he was really wanting to pass on to John and I.
It was a great farm, had lots of birds coming out there. It wouldn't be anything to go in and see 5, 6, 10,000 ducks get up out of it. And it was a great farm. But it was either keep the farm or keep the business going. And so we just decided that the business was more important.
We took that piece of property that we cared so much about and sold it for this business that really, we didn't even know if it was going to work. There were so many times where we could have just quit and we could have just hung it up, but we didn't. And you know, today we're blessed. We've got we've got over 30 employees. We've got 180,000 square foot of warehousing, over 350 items. You know, it's a real business today. So all that sacrifice, and it's so worth it. I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't take one of those things back.
They took over the business and wow, I should have let them do it earlier. They have done a terrific job. We used to have maybe 8 or 10 products. Now we got 200 or 300.
Once every couple years, you know, my dad, my brother, and I'll sit down, like at Thanksgiving or something, we're sitting around watching TV and just kind of talk about some of the stuff we've been through. And, you know, if we could do it all over again, we always joke that we wouldn't be dumb enough to do it again, you know, because so many of those decisions didn't make sense. You know, we were just so passionate and, you know, believed the business was going to work that we just said, no matter what.
Oh, it just makes me feel great. Makes me really proud. Gone from probably the smallest decoy company in the United States to probably one of the biggest. And I didn't do it. I got them started, but they made it happen.